Hello, I'm Tay, and today we are still working on the same illustration. Now, for 2 weeks I was not here because things got hectic. I also got sick with COVID, but I am back. And yes, we're still working on the same illustration. I don't want to rush it, okay? I want to be proud of this illustration. I don't just want to get it done, just get it done. So, in the beginning of the video, you're going to see me play around with different ways of how I'm going to colorize this grayscale illustration of this character. And at first I tried to do the color balance and do it that way, which is totally a valid way of transforming your colors. I know another way of doing it is by gradient maps, and then another way of doing it is by layer settings. And as you'll see, I end up doing it the way of layer settings instead. It's so interesting doing grayscale to color because there's several ways you could go about it. And there's even more ways, there's several ways to get there to that colored stage from grayscale. But I was trying to figure out the right way. There's no right way to it. As long as you get there to what you planned in your thumbnails. The next illustration I do, I will make sure to include colored thumbnails, not just the grayscale thumbnails, because those are also just as important. Because within working on this illustration, I had to, thankfully I was taking pictures of it along the way. So I could look back at what the grayscale looked and what the values all were. So I could communicate that within the colored version of the piece. That way I don't deviate too much from the original, because I want it to look like my original plan. The idea of this illustration, I want it to look like a man who has fallen in the snow, who almost looks as if he is not alive anymore. And I want to eventually draw snow on him. And really just show that this environment is, so cold. And I have gotten stuck a few different times on this illustration. There have been so many times throughout today's session where I've just got up and I walked away and I had to come back, and then I had to look at a video of a splash illustration because I'm like, okay, how did they do their grayscale to color? Should I do a gradient map? Should I do it the color balance way? There's so many options. I found myself getting overwhelmed with each decision that I had to make. And there's so many decisions that you have to make at different parts of the illustration. And sometimes it could get really overwhelming. But as long as you end up coming back to the piece, I found it hard to keep myself, there were times where I got so frustrated while drawing this today, but I feel like the point that I'm at now, I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's slowly coming together, but you're gonna have a lot of parts where you're honestly going to get stuck, and you're going to need to figure out a way to get unstuck, whether that be looking up a video on the style that you're trying to replicate, or looking up even more references than what you gathered in your reference finding stage of your illustration making process. Because sometimes I have to do that. Sometimes I think I have all the references I need, but I have a question on the part of the illustration I'm at. So I have to stop and I have to look up some more references, because I'm like, all right, I want this to look good. Let me find some more, because doing this from my mind, it might not look how I want it to look. So sometimes you have to do that, you know. But putting all these colors together, trying to figure out what I was doing there, I definitely should have done a colored thumbnail or colored thumbnails to really give myself more direction. So I'll definitely do that in the next illustration to make things easier for myself. Like, the way that you make these illustrations easier for yourself is in the foundational stages of the piece, right? It's not going to be with your rendering. It's not going to be with your proportions. No. It's going to be with your thumbnails and your composition. You need to have all of that together. You even want to have an idea of how you're going to color the piece, so you know what you're doing. I find that is going to be the way that you like create some of your better pieces. And I know for me, I would have had an easier time, like, at least with the color stage, having colored thumbnails for me to like have a reference of, to look back at and see, okay, is this color scheme matching what I had in mind? I didn't even create what I had in mind, you know? It's good to get that out there on paper. But I'm just super grateful for everyone coming back in, tuning in to this illustration making process. I'm super grateful for all the feedback I've gotten. Thank you everyone for the support and your patience. I really appreciate it. And just stay tuned with me on this journey of creating this illustration. I feel like I'm almost done. So hopefully the next session will be the last session. I can't promise it'll be the last session, but I will try to make it the last session. But thanks so much for watching this video. We're probably going to have a few more minutes of speed paint. So I'm going to just end talking here. Thanks for watching my video. Let me know your thoughts of like what you think of this series. Yeah. Thanks again. I'm super grateful. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. And enjoy the rest of the video.